Hi everyone, I'm Ken from Crypto Trading KS. If you're new, welcome and welcome back KS family. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin currently up 2.87% to 43,906. Ethereum up 4.16% to 3369. From my 30 plus years in financial markets, I explain the smart money mindset to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, gaining real wealth in the process. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. If you're currently going through a live pullback, please know that our community's love and healing thoughts are with you. You're not alone. The sun will come out again, and there's always hope. Rule 774, master yourself to master the market. As a community, we focus on real wealth. Real wealth is all about maintaining and enhancing a positive excellence life trend. But what does that actually look like? For example, if you're talking to someone, might be through email, might be through a message, might be just face to face, and that person is rude and aggressive, is that a positive excellence life trend for that other person? No, it's not. Because kindness is the foundation of all value creation. A lot of people misunderstand kindness. They can think that it's weak. In fact, kindness is incredibly important. It takes a lot of courage and fearlessness to be kind. Kindness is not something that we naturally default to as human beings. Also, kindness is the doorway through which integrity and decency are seen. And as the masterclass students who are going through or have gone through the real wealth section of the masterclass will understand, kindness and caring are essential to maintaining wealth and keeping it. Of course, kindness can yield inner peace and outer peace. When we're kind, we simply seek to understand. It's a little known thing that many people are demoted because they are simply not kind. And when I mean demoted, I don't mean in the job, although that definitely does happen. If you're a manager or an executive and you have staff that you want to promote, and you have two staff members both equally capable, one is kind, one is not kind, the kind one will get the promotion. This is the way the world works. Unfortunately, many people don't actually understand this. Kindness is not having a lack of boundaries or a lack of strength. In fact, you need far more strength and boundaries when you're kind than when you're aggressive. Aggressiveness is simply just letting go and not being in control. Now, why are we talking about this on a crypto channel? The critical thing here is crypto is basically driven by fear and greed. We can see in the market right now, there's extreme fear. Extreme fear is a time where people are heading for the exits if they think from a retail perspective. Thinking from a smart money mindset is a completely different thing. We're actually heading in the door while the retail crowd are heading out of the door. But it takes a lot of kindness to do so. And why is that? Because kindness is all about understanding and knowing that you can't buy the bottom. If you get in when the market is coming down, it can continue to come down. That's why we buy in layers at support. Kindness is a very often overlooked thing. If you can be more kind in your interactions with other people, you will be promoted by life. Not by other people, by life itself. Every day we get the test. Do I be kind or am I not kind? If you are kind, you will be promoted. If you're not kind, you will actually be demoted. And this is by life. It's not by other people. Other people may carry the message, but passing all of these tests day in, day out is really important. And of course, the most important kindness that you can ever exhibit is kindness towards yourself. Knowing that you're incredibly unique, you have a set of skills that's never been seen before in the world and never will be seen when you leave this world. Knowing that automatically makes you worthy and deserving of other people's kindness, of other people's love, and your own love, of meaning and every success in life. Kindness is really, really, really important. I can't stress enough how important kindness is if you want to live a really rich, wealthy, and financially secure life. Being kind is the doorway. Rule 45, no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. What we can say with Bitcoin, it's about time Bitcoin. It's starting to get over these levels of resistance. We can see, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days ago, Bitcoin was starting to turn around. It was starting to bottom out. And we saw that around the $41,933.90 mark. It's now overcome a key level of daily resistance. And this is great to see. What do we next look at from a probabilistic stance? Bitcoin coming up to 44,800. That is a quite important level. And getting above that to the 45,881 is really, really positive for Bitcoin. When we see Bitcoin rising, what do we think is happening to the entire crypto market? I would say something like this, and I mentioned a couple of days ago that was very, very likely that we're going to see a turnaround in the crypto market. This is exactly the time. I've never seen so much doom and gloom on social media, and I'm thinking, these people are thinking retail. They're not thinking from a smart money institutional mindset. And that's what we're all about on this channel and inside our community, sharing the smart money mindset. Rule 138, all investors become traders every time they buy or sell. What the problem is here, many investors are shaken out of the market on these deep red days that we've seen over the past 60 days. It was pretty brutal, and it was a long time coming, and people simply said, I give up, I'm out of the market, I can't handle it. That's exactly what the institutions and smart money want you to say. They're actually buying what you're selling if you're thinking from a retail mindset. That's why it's so important to think from a smart money mindset. In episode 395, I explained how the crypto smart money mindset is completely different to the crypto retail mindset. The smart money mindset is always buying red, and we can see that Bitcoin came down quite a significant amount, over 42.35% over 61 days. If it just recovers back to the level, and it will, that it was at when this downturn occurred, it won't increase 42.35%. It will increase 73.42%. That is what smart money knows and retail doesn't. That's why I created the concept of the 10-5-10 fund. When you hear people talking about 10-5-10, it's an ideology. If you start with $10 and you lose $5, you've lost 50%. But if you go and pick up $5 and you have $5, you just increased your wealth by 100%. That's exactly how it works in the crypto space. It works this way in all markets, but crypto is incredibly volatile. It's really, really important to have money aside for a 10-5-10 fund. The concept is retail is always thinking the price will basically just move in one direction, that is up. It doesn't do that. We know rule 4, price moves in waves. We also know that volatility is inherent in the crypto space. We can get these long tail rejections like this. They are absolutely bargain basement times to come in and buy, but that's precisely when everybody else is selling. That is why I go through Real Wealth every single day on this channel. It's to help people to understand that when you come into the crypto space, if you don't have your mindset leveled and really, really strong, you will be shaken out of very profitable positions. And that's just not fair. I want you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love. And gaining real wealth is the way that you do so. The smart money mindset always makes in advance probabilistic choices. You always look at the chart and say, what will I do if price rallies up? And Bitcoin and crypto are exponential assets. They're not linear assets. They can basically jump straight up the wall like no one's seen before. It's really important to keep that in mind. What if, for example, things go down and they collapse? What if they go sideways? You need answers to those 3 questions at all times. That way you'll sleep really, really well at night. I created KS Zone Analysis to explain the 4 stages that all investors and traders progress through to become consistently profitable and attain real wealth. Zone 1 and Zone 2 are all based on certainty. Certainty creates terror. I know a lot of people want a certain life. Certainty creates anxiety in the real world, but in crypto it creates terror. And that terror can lead to many sleepless nights. What people actually do when they go through these, the panic zone and the blame zone, into the patience and rule zone, they're actually understanding that there is no certainty inside any market. If there was, the return that you would get would be next to zero. Certainty means no return. No certainty, no return. No real return. Probability is the way we go because the market, especially crypto, is highly uncertain. That means we need a lot of rules. We also need patience. Things don't happen on our timetable, they happen on the market's timetable. We need to have probabilistic fearlessness, and we need to be able to forgive. That forgiveness is not for other people, it's for ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves that we can't pick the lotto numbers for next draw. We can't pick the horse race winners for the next horse race. And of course, we should never gamble. What it is about in Zone 3 is using probability. If anybody gambles, they're likely to lose all their money because gambling is not about gambling. It's about winning, and it's not about winning money. It's about winning an advantage without putting in the hard work, the skill, the effort required. Nothing in this world works like that. If you gamble, you will lose because you haven't put in the hard work. Now I can hear you say, Ken, that's a bit rough. Please, gamblers need love too. Of course, everybody needs love. It's really not about that. It's a philosophical mindset. A lot of people gamble because they simply don't know how to make money. If they had the rules of making money, they wouldn't gamble. Gambling is for people that don't know the rules of money. People who do know the rules of money are unlikely to gamble. And if they do gamble, they know that they can throw their money away. As a community, our focus is on being more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love. Gambling will never ever take anybody there. You may win in the short term, but the long term, you're guaranteed to lose. When we look at total liquidations, these are people gambling inside the market. We can see that in the past 24 hours, $121.3 million has been lost to liquidations occurring across 38,992 trading positions. In the last 4 hours, nearly 85% of those liquidations were short liquidations. I mentioned to people, please be careful about going short. The market looked as though it was turning around, and it's certainly done so. The more people who go short, the more exponential the increase in Bitcoin and other cryptos will be. The solution to gambling in the crypto market is simply to buy at spot. Spot is already highly leveraged. Any particular crypto that you would buy, cryptos are 10 times more volatile than any other investment. They can go up 80% in a day. They're just unbelievably volatile. We can see that we've currently got $17.22 billion worth of open interest in the market at the moment. And if we have a look at Binance open interest, we can see that more and more open interest is coming online. When you look at these graphs, these charts are all about people basically gambling with various levels of professionalism. Some people, the people who can afford it the least, get involved with leverage and they have their accounts wiped out. It's really heartbreaking for me to see that. If these people actually knew that the deck, the house of crypto is actually stacked against them, and the house always wins when it comes to these things, they may be less reluctant to go into them. Of course, professional traders and investors can do whatever they like, and there are many professionals that do use leverage. In the crypto space, leverage is incredibly dangerous. For example, going back to the 2016 bull run, we had very large increases, 87%, 20% loss, nearly 40% gain, 40% loss, 38% gain, 15% loss, 66. This is a really, really volatile market, and it's become even more so. And especially to the negative side, we really need to be careful when it comes to leverage. If you buy at spot, you can just hold on and you can withstand various downturns, which are really normal in the market. I guess I'm going a bit hard on this, much harder than I've ever gone before, because I see so many lives destroyed by leverage and gambling. There is a better way. That's simply just to buy at spot. There's so many great opportunities out there. People don't need to gamble, especially if you're just learning. If you're just learning, the powers that be, the powers that give you all that free money when you join, they're giving it to you for a reason, and it's not for your advantage. It's really important to understand that there are three forms of technical analysis, and technical analysis is always looking at the chart in front of you, trying to make probabilistic decisions and choices as to what price will do. There's stock market technical analysis, there's foreign exchange or forex technical analysis, and there's pure crypto technical analysis. Sometimes what actually happens is that people from the stock market and forex get involved with crypto. Of course they do, because they understand it's just another investment classification. And when they apply stock market technical analysis to crypto, and then they apply forex technical analysis to crypto, they can come up with very misleading results. I say rule 234, crypto eats technicals for breakfast. What this actually means is that a completely new way of looking at technical analysis is required for crypto, and that's what I created in the Crypto Trading KS Masterclass. The fundamental nature of crypto, the fact that it's exponential, it's subject to exponential price action, implosions, explosions, all the stuff that we do not see in conventional markets. Let's have a look at Bitcoin to try and understand this a little bit more deeply. When we look at Bitcoin versus the US dollar, we had a head and shoulders pattern here, and on the 19th of May I called 30,000 as the low. Admittedly, it went a couple of $100 below that down here around the mid of July, but the concept was that many people were saying Bitcoin is going to 10,000, pretty much like what we see here with this head and shoulder pattern. Please be aware, these kind of patterns exist in the stock market and forex for very good reasons. They're really stable markets. Crypto is not stable. It's highly speculative, and because it's highly speculative, these technical patterns are often invalidated. If you go from it, you'll get trapped on the wrong side of the trade. I know many people escaped the market, and they did so just before it turned around. So for example, we're looking at this at the moment, and many people were saying, okay, I'm done, I'm out of the market. My concept to them was, things are about to turn around. For example, about 6 weeks ago, I called this particular pattern in, and I said, we're likely, this was on December the 5th, and it's really interesting, up to a couple of weeks ago when people were getting really, really negative, I said this 6 weeks ago that we were expecting the potential that this could happen, because it's played out time and time and time and time again, and it continues to play out. That's why it's really important to not be swept up with the masses. The masses are retail investors and traders, and unfortunately retail traders and investors tend to get really big losses to smart money and institutions. We really need to be aware of that. To understand Bitcoin, we need to understand what is happening to particular drivers that can influence Bitcoin. One of them is C19. We can see that there's currently 317 million cases, and we've had a massive spike in the number of new cases. Coming down to yesterday's figures, we can see that there were a total of nearly 2.9 million cases worldwide. Now, what does this actually mean for Bitcoin? When we have a large number of cases, stimulus will become critically important. It doesn't matter what Jerome Powell says in the US market or any other central banks. This is shutting down economic activity. They can talk about tapering, but the reality is that we just look at the numbers. We run the numbers behind the scenes because that's exactly what policymakers do. The reason the Federal Reserve talks about lowering stimulus is because inflation is dramatically increasing. And why is it increasing? Because people are simply not participating in the economic system. That's slowing down supply chains. It's causing a lot of pressure on price, and price is increasing because of it. When we see things like inflation, Jerome Powell understands that he can just speak to the market and the market will say, okay, we'll adjust our behavior. This is the kind of psychological warfare that veteran traders and investors know all too well. That's why we go behind the news and actually understand what is happening. We don't pay much attention to what people say because it's generally a narrative. We're kind of like detectives who examine all the market data, and we need to look far more broadly than just crypto, because crypto is one investment asset class. The other ones are really important as well. When we see the airlines index, this white line, what do we see? It's improving. It's been improving since the start of December. And I've called this out many times. Even though the C19 cases are exceptional, we can see that the airlines index is pointing towards recovery. We can also see that the NASDAQ 100 has bumped up, and many of these transport indexes are on the way up as well. If everything was bad, we would expect these to all be plummeting. It's not the case. Masterclass students, you will have this particular chart when you reach the appropriate module. There's a very strong correlation between Bitcoin's price and the inflation rate. When we look at the 5-year and 10-year break-even inflation rates, Masterclass students, you will also have this chart when you reach the relevant section. What we can see is Bitcoin has diverged from around the 18th of December. This divergence was the absolute perfect time to lean in, and that's what we've been doing as a community. When the Fed talks about it's going to decrease the amount of stimulus in the market, it's exactly focused on trying to reduce the perception of investors and traders about the inflation rate, trying to knock it back down. I've said many times that the greatest threat to global stability and the rally inside all markets is the Chinese property market, the debt inside that market. We can see that through these 7 companies, from Evergrande to Country Garden, they have sales of $2.25 trillion and net debt of over $1 trillion. We can see that Evergrande's share price, that's the one in blue, has been taking an absolute hammering, but there was always a time that Evergrande would be saved by the CCP, and it had to be saved because the Chinese property sector is so incredibly important. It's a non-negotiable area for the Chinese people. Masterclass students, you will also have this chart. As we can see, for these 7 companies, just these 7, there's net debt of over $1 trillion. That's $1,009 billion. What do we see happening? Vanke's share price is going up. What about this one, the yellow one? Country Garden is going up. We can even see just from this low point that Evergrande share price is going up. They're all coming up. And that is a restoration of confidence inside this particular sector. It's really important to understand. People can say anything they want to, but as veteran traders and investors, we don't care what people say because it's narrative. We care what the charts do. Let's have a look across the charts in the stock market. Masterclass students, you will get this in TM6. What we can see is the fear gauge, the VIX, has been coming down. This is a restoration of confidence. When we look at the fear coming down, it's just like in crypto. As the fear comes down in crypto, what do prices do? They go up. And we've seen the NASDAQ 100 slice through its support and then rebound. What about oil? Oil is just going parabolic at the moment. What about bond prices? Bond prices are collapsing. They're doing a bit of a technical bounce, but they're going down. What happens with bond prices when there are particular issues in the market? We've seen many times that when bond prices come up, when they go up, like for example oil prices are now, when they rise up the wall, that is a time that we need to pay particular attention to the market. They're doing the exact opposite. This means it's really good for crypto. And don't forget, our whole community focus is on crypto. It's not the stock market, but we cover it here anyway. We can see yields have been increasing, and yields have been very positively associated with Bitcoin's price action for quite a long time. We can see gold is also doing a technical bounce, coming into a level of resistance at the moment. The DXY, the dollar, is starting to back off. So what does all this mean? It means Bitcoin is looking really good. It means the markets are looking really good. There's no imminent crash. Don't forget that news and media outlets thrive on your fear. Without your fear, without your greed, they wouldn't sell anything. I'm exactly the opposite here. We have a small community because I just tell you the facts. I tell you what is going on. And sometimes, like today, I get a bit blunt on it because I want to look after people. There's so many people that could do really, really well inside this market, but if they go down the wrong path, they can get wiped out. I don't want that for you. I want you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love. It's always great to remember Rule 28. Oh, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Opportunities reset daily. Just in life, they reset every day. Every day you get up, it's a brand new day. It doesn't matter who you were, what you did yesterday, you can do today differently. You can do today better. We know the entire crypto market is governed by Bitcoin's price action, its directional movement. What do we see here? Bitcoin's directional movement is going up. What do we expect on every other chart? We expect the same. Will it happen 100% of cases? Absolutely not. Will it happen 99% of cases? Absolutely. Yes, definitely. There's always 1% of cases that diverge. But looking at Bitcoin, it's hit that technical level and bounced. What about Ethereum? It's bounced more effectively. There's a gearing relationship between Bitcoin and all the alts. What about Binance Coin? Look at it, it's just rallying. What about Solana? Rallying as well. What about Cardano? Rallying also. XRP rallying. Luna rallying. DOT rallying. This is why I always say, if you want to know what happened to your beloved alt, look at Bitcoin. This is the power of Bitcoin's gravity. I was the first person to use gravity in terms of Bitcoin because literally Bitcoin is like a planet and all the alts are planets around it. Well, Bitcoin is like the sun and all the alts are planets around it. It does have a gravity and it pulls them and pushes them. Just to be aware of that. What do we see with AVAX? Look at that. As Bitcoin came up, what did AVAX do? It came up. What about Doge? It came up. What about SHIB? It's rallying really, really strongly. It came up. Matic also doing incredibly well. We can see Litecoin coming up, Uni coming up, Chainlink wobbling around a bit. This is a really good thing to note. Chainlink has been particularly strong. We always see what I call the changing of the guards. Changing of the guards happens when a particular crypto was strong in a particular market move, and then as the broader market catches on fire, this one becomes a little bit less. So we can expect to see a bit of wobbling around. Just be aware that the price is always moving in a wave. So Algo, what did Algo do? It came up. What happened to these alts? Bitcoin happened to these alts. What do we see next? Looking at the next date, Bitcoin Cash coming up. Why? Bitcoin. Tron coming up. Why? Bitcoin. Axie Infinity coming up. Why? Bitcoin. Decentraland coming up. Why? Bitcoin. Stellar coming up. Why? Bitcoin. Oh my goodness, I'm saying this too much. VET coming up and FTT coming up. Notice the Cosmos. This is really important. This is like a changing of the guard. Always be aware that something that can do incredibly well when, for example, Bitcoin has been coming down like a crazy thing for so many months, over 61 days it's been coming down. And we've seen a slight divergence here in Atom. It's been coming up, exacerbating the upward movements. Just beware that these particular cryptos, some can be really, really strong. Others can be a lot weaker than they appear. I think we're getting close for Atom to break out, but please be aware of the negative bias that is always playing out in these cryptos. Looking at the next day, we see a bounce up with EGLD. We can see that ICP is wavering a little bit. Sand is an interesting one. You can see Bitcoin's fingerprint in blue here. Always remember that eventually Bitcoin's gravity will dominate any particular alt that goes out of alignment with that gravity. That is why I call it gravity. It basically pulls. Bitcoin's gravity pulls the alts into alignment, and we can see the realignment of Sand, especially with this upward price movement. Very nice. A lot of people would have done really well with that. Filecoin still under a lot of resistance. CHR is looking quite good. It's getting above monthly resistance and looking to take out various resistance levels on the way up. Theta token is still under resistance, but we can see what it's doing. It's following Bitcoin's price action. The same with Ethereum Classic. Notice another changing of the guards factor. I just want to raise this so that you can keep it in mind. For example, if you have a superstars when the price action is coming down in crypto, and those prices have done really, really well, and then the broader market starts recovering, will those high performing particular alts that did really well when Bitcoin was coming down, will people take profits and cycle it out into something else? This is what you need to be aware of. It really depends on the underlying foundations of that particular crypto. We look at the technicals, and the technicals look really good, but we understand NEAR is very, very spiky. So we would be always looking to scale in at lower levels of support. Let's have a look at some community favorites. We can see VRA, Veracity. We've been talking a lot about VRA and saying when Bitcoin's price improves, VRA will do quite well. We can actually see that VRA's price increased by 56.72% from this low as Bitcoin was starting to turn around. This is the case with all of the alts. The alts do very, very well, and that's why they're so fantastic to have as part of your portfolio. The other thing to bear in mind, when the alts come down, they come down a lot harder than Bitcoin. That's the other thing to bear in mind. So what we can see with VRA, it's only been about 4.5 days. It's already come up 58%. So what would that mean to actually a recovery perspective? If VRA just recovers that previous high, and that's not even the top, that's just underneath it, we're looking at about a 271% increase, or from current price action, about 145%. I'm not saying that you should get into VRA. I'm just trying to show you the gearing between Bitcoin and a particular alt. And we noticed that VRA was following Bitcoin's gravity to a ping. And that's why I kept on pointing it out. We can see Icon is starting to come up. Icon could do very well as well, because we know no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. As Bitcoin continues to repair, continues to get stronger and stronger and stronger, of course we know exactly what will happen with the alts. They'll do really, really well. Let's have a look at Sushi. Another community member called out, what's happening with Sushi? Sushi is doing really well. It's forming a very nice technical channel here. So we look at this and say, okay, this is not too bad. This is a low, but this is a higher low than that one. So this is a formation of the start of a bull or uptrend. And this is what we really look for. However, would I go into sushi, for example? Well, as the masterclass students know, when you're at the relevant section inside the masterclass, there's a very specific way that we check that. Let's have a look at IOTA. IOTA is doing well. It's bumped up nearly 20%. So what do we say about this? What do we see here? Why is it bumped up? The answer, Bitcoin. Let's have a look at Kusama. Kusama has done a jump up as well. And we were always saying there are levels of support, technical support inside the market. When the whole market gets to a level of technical support, everything is going to bounce. Let's have a look at RSR. RSR is still under daily resistance, quite a few daily resistance levels. But let's see how it plays out. It really needs to get above the price of 28.57. Audio bouncing, looking nice. It's still under resistance. It's got a lot to overcome. But what do we see with the following of Bitcoin's price action? It's not bad, not quite as tight as VRA, but it's still very, very highly associated. What about our favorite, Cartesi, as a spiky trade? What we can see in the past 3 days, Cartesi has come up 36%. This is just a natural waving of price. Don't forget, prices always move in a wave. They come up and down all the time. What typically happens, retail thinking is full of FOMO. I'm going to miss out, I'm going to miss out. So people grab in there, not knowing that price is always moving in a wave. It's always coming up and then coming down to form a higher low and coming up and down. Certain cryptos can get really spiky. In fact, we drew out these 10-5-10 levels in Cartesi. We can see Cartesi hit the 55.59 mark. We don't really care about extracting every last cent out of a trade because that's not the way things work. In crypto, we've got incredibly volatile price action. We can get these spikes and collapses, spikes and collapses. That's why we're always buying at levels down, where other channels and other influencers will say to you, go all in and more. I will never ever tell you that. Other influencers will say, you can make so much money from gambling. I will never tell you that. If you want to get your money and keep your money, you need to develop a smart money mindset and a focus on real wealth. Maybe it's not as interesting or as exciting as other things, but you want to keep what you earn. I'd like to thank the very kind and generous community members who reached out and bought me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com/cryptotradingks. Thanks so much, everyone. I want to especially thank Josh for your very nice comment. Enjoy being a student and learning how to fish. And Major General George Hammond. Wow, you gotta love Stargate. Thank you, Major General. Dear Dr. Ken, the most sincere guy in crypto, Hammond here. Your videos are helping me so much. You're very welcome, my friend. I'm glad they're helping. With the masterclass, I'm organizing something that will make it more accessible. More information to come on that. For the Coffee Club members, there's actually a new post that I put out for this month. You might like to have a look at that if you haven't seen it already. And of course, my commitment to our community remains the same. As always, I will always continue to do these free videos. I hope you found the content useful. Please consider sharing and liking this video if you think it will help others. Thank you very much to our moderators for keeping our community safe from scammers. Please say hi and let me know if you have any questions. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. I've left helpful links in the description of this video. Please remember, crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there, my friends. Take care and see you next time. Bye for now.